Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
And good afternoon to the European attendees. My name is Giorgio. Nice to meet you. Together with me, there is Christian.
Hello, nice to meet you.
And together we are here today to share with you some videos and presentation regarding the DVC operator, or even better, the DVC in the animal room, how to interact with the system. I'm going to start sharing my presentation. This session is recorded, just to let you know, and we will share the recording later. Plus, please, you should have a button where you can make questions. Christian is here together with me. We are really close each other. This is my hand. And you can make question in the meantime I'm presenting. There will be a final probably 5-10 minutes Q&A session, but if in the meantime you want to make question, please do. Christian will reply to your question almost in real time. So let's start. I switch off my camera as well. I will switch it on at the end. Once again, thanks for attending. And then I start sharing my presentation. Okay, you should see it. I'm checking with Christian video as well. Okay, so again, once again, welcome everybody, especially to the last one who are currently entering. Today we are here. This is a brief agenda of the different topics, the main topics we would like to touch. So briefly talking about the DVC operator ecosystem, our preferred workflows. We are going to share at least our vision that hopefully is similar to your, and then we would like to touch some more advanced workflows. Let's start immediately from the first topic, the DVC operator ecosystem. So basically, to interact with the DVC in the animal room in real time, we have designed and developed in these years various components. Why? First of all, because this provides you very high flexibility for your operation and tasks, enabling you to choose which is your preferred one based on your current SOPs and preferred workflows. But also these various components, sometimes, most of the time, they overlap each other, and they could be also considered as a good opportunities as a recovery plan in case one of these different components is not correctly working or you are facing some potential issues. There are other components that can overlap and considered a substitute in performing the task. So let's have a look. Which are these components to interact with the DVC in the animal room? For sure, and this is in reality probably the first one we develop, is the DVC operator interface. You will see later it's our web-based interface where practically you can do everything regarding the tasks and the DVC interaction. But then recently, in the last, I would say 2-3 years, we developed an interface to run also on our DVC master. The component usually plays on top of the blower, powering the racks and interacting with the cages. This is a nice way of interacting with the system through its interface to be really fast and quick in the animal room. Then, and this is even more recent, we developed our new PVC top holders plus a specific control panel that have been developed in order to provide, probably you can see from this small picture, a third interface, the interface provided by the control panel while working under the cabinet over the working bench. Last but not least, and originally this has been our first interface since the beginning of this project, even better, DVC board is equipped with red, green, and blue RGB LEDs. You can play with, interact, finding, searching cages, and interacting for providing feedback. This is also not a real graphical interface, but for sure it's a point of interaction with the final user, extremely powerful. What is the DVC operator interface? As said, is a web-based application running in the animal room on your device. Could be a laptop, could be a tablet with following specific requirement. We prefer, if it is possible, to run the DVC operator interface in using Google Chrome as a browser. This is our software interface designed to fully support any kind of activities and workflow in the animal room while working with DVC cages. Now I start sharing one of the several videos we prepared for you, explaining a little bit more in depth this interface. So now let's have a look a little bit more in details to the DVC operator interface. So again, starting from the login, facility _00. These are the most, I would say, important feature of this interface. The first tab is the scheduler, recapping all the daily tasks generated by the DVC system. We will cover this topic in the more advanced training soon. Then the second tab is the rack view, where are recapped all the connected DVC racks with the precise location of where they are. This is the DVC rack in real time. You can click the little green light LED bulb, and the corresponding rack is showing the LEDs. As well as there are other useful information such as how many registered cages, how many empty cages, how many positions currently not filled with cages, as well as when a cage is removed, automatically it disappears from the rack. When the cage is inserted back, the cage appears in the rack. This is the real virtual representation of the physical rack. There are other buttons we will cover later, how to terminate a cage and how to realign from misalignment situation. Other tabs, RAM, network for check, and top holders are covered more in the advanced training. Then, following the top bar, there is a section where you can search for cages. For instance, we can look for the cage we just created, C41, and the system, simply by typing the cage, can tell you where it is, and you can also illuminate this cage directly at rack level, immediately finding the corresponding cage. You can search by cage ID, but in reality you can search also by animal ID, protocols, owner, or by strain. Following the top bar, we are in the section called the readers, where this DVC operator is showing you how many, and currently there are only 2 readers are available to be associated to this user. By clicking the little chain icon, this will be associated to the facility user, and they are moved in the other section where are described as associated. Alarms, by clicking this button, you can you can see the current active alarms. In this case, there is one cage with a missing bottle located in this position. You can again illuminate the corresponding cage by clicking the LID, and here it is. The cage, how to solve the alarm, very simple. In this case, you have to insert the water bottle. LIDs, very, very important to mention, are always activated by your interaction with the system. The DVC will never activate LIDs automatically. It's always you interacting with the DVC operator interface or with the DVC master. When an alarm is cleared, because in this case, for instance, the water bottle has been inserted, you can also see when it is solved. If you click the bin, the cleared alarms are removed. Then, last part important of the DVC operator interface are the below buttons referring to the manual tasks. The first one is called the cage edit. You click this button whenever you want to register or modify an already existing cage by interacting with the electronic top holders. The second button is when you want to perform a total bedding change, we will cover later. Third, about a partial bedding change. Fourth, about splitting animals between two registered cages, so moving from one to another, or through three different cages. The fifth button is about winning pups from breeding cages between two cages, or between three cages. That probably is the most common situation. So this was a general overview of the DVC operator interface. As said, this interface runs on Google Chrome, so we don't install anything on your laptop or tablet. Probably you already know, but you have to bring your device probably close to the changing station, to the working bench surface, to interact in real time with the cages. Now we would like to share with you our preferred workflows, considering also the other components of the DVC ecosystem. Our preferred workflows minimize the interaction required from the animal caretaker, while keep delivering all the necessary information to complete the task effectively. This is our mission. Try to let you get the most from the system without asking too much in order of digital interaction. Even more, if the DVC can be integrated into already existing animal management system, this minimizing interaction will be even further achieved, because it will allow the DVC to concentrate only on few tasks, while others can be completely automated by the integration with this already existing animal management system. Just below, I prepared a basic, I would say, in cage life workflow. Usually starts from registering a cage, then the DVC generates some potential tasks, welfare, daily, bedding, change, and so on. During the life, there might be some alarms. We already covered partially with the DVC operator interface. I would like to discuss with you regarding the DVC master interface. There could be some updates during this cage life. You have to cull one animal, or multiple animals, there are new pups, and so on. There are many reasons why a cage could be updated in its content. until obviously the cage is terminated with or without a specific explanation. So let's have a look to this cage life workflow, considering two major points. Our preferred workflows with an AMS fully integrated. In this case, you will see that the DVC operator interface is not needed anymore. There is the opportunity to really focus only on the DVC master and control panel of the electronic top holder, and that's it. No web interface anymore. Or step number 2, second part of the webinar, our preferred workflows without any AMS. The DVC is a standalone component. In this case, for some tasks, probably the DVC operator interface is needed, and we can discuss later. So, as said, step number 1, when there is an AMS, an animal management system, let's start from the first point, the mandatory point to enable all the other functionalities, register a cage. Now let's see the last, but our preferable fourth way of registering a cage. In case there is an AMS integration in place, you can simply use the control panel by clicking the corresponding icon, using your AMS cage label. You open the cage as usual, it appears. You can directly scan and retrieve all the necessary information from your AMS cage label, so the cage ID, the number of animals, but also the owner, the protocol, the sex, the strain, the date of birth are completely retrieved. Simply by closing the cage has been quickly registered and now can be inserted directly into the DVC rack into any position. Please check the red light to be sure that the rack completely reads the cage. Then, so this is, hopefully you agree with us, extremely straightforward and nothing more than using a barcode scanner, a few clicks and retrieving what is already existing. Then let's have a look to the tasks. The DVC system generates every early morning a list of tasks related to the cages that should be deeply inspected because of potential welfare issues, administratively inspected, at least visually, called a daily check, and then a list of tasks for the cages that should be changed because they reached a level of moisture into the bedding that have been declared as dirty. When the operator arrives early in the morning, just clicking on the DVC master interface, selecting direct to analyze scheduled tasks, then there is a list of, this is the list just mentioned. By clicking daily check button, all the cages that should be simply visually inspected are illuminated by yellow. The red cages are the ones where during the night the system detected some unusual or deviating pattern of activity compared to the previous baseline data. How to run the task? Simply touching the capacity button on the lateral side of the board, and as you can see, now it's time to visually inspect the yellow cages. This task doesn't require to physically remove the cages, but simply visually inspecting them, because again, during the night nothing has been detected by the system and these cages are considered as normal, while the red cages are the ones that must be checked later by physically removing from the rack. Now, only as said, the red cages, illuminated in red, are remaining and must be physically removed from the rack to accomplish the task. It's now time to physically remove one by one and deeply inspect these cages, because during the night something has been detected. In this interface, you will see a real graph, as well as clicking the button, the content of the cage, and you can also leave a feedback in case it corresponds to a real anomaly you can also discover in the animals. The task is accomplished by physically removing the cage from the rack and deeply inspecting. When also the last one has been fully and deeply checked, the entire daily check plus welfare tasks are completed, and the master interface is back to the standard visualization. Now, so these tasks, daily and welfare, are daily generated every early morning, as said, and if you like, we can also enable the sending of recapping emails to you, where you can discover if and where these tasks are located. There is another scheduled task that is called bedding change, and recently we also introduced a preferred or a better or a simpler and straightforward way to perform it. We call internally readerless, because as you can see in a few seconds from the video, there are no readers anymore over the working surface. Let's talk now about the scheduled bedding task. As said, the DVC every early in the morning can create a list of dirty cages to be changed. How is the workflow? Very simple. The operator arrives in the morning, click on the rack, click on scheduled task, and there are total cage change, 19 dirty cages to be changed. These are illuminated by yellow LED lights, and the operator can start from any of these cages, simply performing a standard bedding change as performed today. So opening the dirty, moving the animals to the clean, closing the cage top, moving the card label. And now, to accomplish this task, to be tracked by the DVC system, there is only one requirement. The cage must be inserted exactly in the same position. And then keep going with the other position, the other yellow LED lights. Exactly as said. Dirty, clean, moving the animals, closing the cage, and inserting back as a requirement to the same cage slot. In case a cage is not dirty enough and you want to skip the task, simply click and push the button to reject the task and moving forward with the other dirty cages. Very, very simple. Whatever you do is tracked in the DVC system. Every time a bedding change is performed, it is tracked, showing you the remaining ones. So this was especially for the people who started working, for the users started working with the DVC some years ago, I believe incredible improvement to streamline the workflow without asking extra effort than the current one in the SOPs. As promised, let's have a look now to how to handle alarms in our preferred workflow. That is not considering anymore the DVC operator interface, but directly interacting with the DVC master interface. Now, let's have a look to the alarms, the open alarms in the system. Again, through the DVC master interface, there is the possibility to click alarms. There is one active alarm. Clicking, there is a missing bottle. Clicking on the alarm, the corresponding cage with a missing bottle alarm is illuminated by red light, and inserting the water bottle, the alarm can be, in this case, easily fixed. Same can be directly accessed by clicking the alarm button in the home page of the master interface, and this is recapping the overall alarms attached to the entire racks attached to the DVC master. In this case, there is only one, so is obviously the same showed alarm as before. Checking the status of the cage, inserting the water bottle. Now the alarm has been cleared and there are no active alarms currently in this DVC rack. And so, again, as said, compared to the DVC operator interaction, we believe that directly working, interacting with the DVC master interface, it's much more streamlined and faster than before. Last point of the cage life workflow I suggested to follow is regarding the cage update and cage termination. I said whenever a cage has to be updated regarding the content or if it is terminated. As you can read from this slide, there are no tasks to be performed on the DVC because we are integrated with AMS. So if you have to remove one animal, add the newborns, or finally terminate the cage and culling all the animals, keep performing these tasks as you are used to do in your animal management system interface, and DVC will automatically update the corresponding DVC cage, wherever it is, if it is still inserted or if it is already gone to the washing because the animals have been, for instance, already culled. Also, in this case, we strongly believe that this is thanks to the integration, obviously, this is a major milestone achieved to simplify and make easy the interaction with the DVC. So this is the end of the first preferred workflow with the AMS integrated. You didn't see at all any DVC operator interface, any laptop. Christian, as a special guest in the video, simply worked at rack level in front of the DVC master and in front of the changing station while registering cages. Very, very straightforward. We know perfectly that not all the DVC users are fully integrated with already existing animal management system. And as said, obviously, the DVC must work also in this situation. Unfortunately, and obviously, with a little bit of more effort, let's see our preferred workflow in this situation. So regarding the step number one for the cage life workflow, the cage registration, we have already two options. There could be a light version. I show you immediately, and then we discuss. Now let's see a third very basic but very fast way to register a cage. There is an opportunity just through the control panel by clicking the corresponding cage edit button to open the cage, and the system automatically assign a sequential number provided by the DVC. You can simply add the number of mice into this cage that is going to be created, and simply by closing the cage has been saved with this DVC provided cage ID and 3 animals. These are the mandatory information for the DVC to run properly in terms of algorithm and in terms of data collection. So this is our light version in the sense that you really don't need to do anything more than clicking how many animals and adding how many animals in the cage are present. Obviously, you are losing any potential connection to your existing AMS, if any, or to your existing way of naming cages, if any. But if you don't have a real tracked version for cage names, this could be a nice alternative. Vice versa, if you want to have a more, I would say, aligned approach to an already existing but not integrated AMS, we have a so-called more detailed version. Let's have a look. Okay, so now let's see the second way to register a cage. In this case, we are going to use the button Cage Edit in the DVC Operator interface. And then you remember the DVC top holder, we need to associate these readers to the user logged into the DVC Operator interface by clicking that button, the little chain, and then the readers are assigned to the facility user in the DVC Operator interface that now is requesting to use the reader 1213 to open a cage. Let's go to the control panel. By clicking the corresponding button, you can verify that the readers have been assigned to the facility users. And now finally, you can open the cage to be registered, simply moving the cage close to the reader, and the cage appears immediately also in the DVC Operator interface. And now, like before, it's time to register with the needed information, the cage ID, the ID of the animals, if any, sex, strain, date of birth, and so on. All these information are not really mandatory. They depend on you, as well as, by the way, the cage label. We don't provide any specific cage label, we simply follow your information. By closing the cage has been registered and created also in the DVC Operator interface, and now can be simply inserted into the DVC rack as a registered stock cage. Here it is. Perfect. From now, the system is collecting data and monitoring for any kind of alarm. So, as said, in this preferred workflow without AMS, in case you want to be completely and fully aligned to the cage content, you have to use the DVC Operator interface. We don't see any other option regarding this. Proceeding with the cage life workflow, touching the DVC tasks, in this case, at least from our perspective, the preferred approach is still the same through the DVC master interface. Theoretically, in this case, you can also have the DVC Operator interface running in your laptop or tablet to support you performing this task. but we assume that the preferred approach would be through the DVC master interface, because in any case, the tasks should be performed just in front of the rack. We strongly believe this is the best way. So regarding DVC tasks, running the DVC tasks, daily, welfare, there is no big difference compared to the situation where the DVC was integrated with AMS. The same for the bedding change. Also in this case, could be exactly the same workflow. These are DVC tasks. They don't depend upon the AMS system, the animal management system, sorry. So basically, the DVC managed by itself these tasks that, again, in our preferred version can be run and achieved through the DVC master interface. Again, our preferred way is the readerless. In case you don't have to provide any feedback, and we will cover later this topic, the readerless procedure it's extremely fast and straightforward. Same, again, sorry, also for the alarms. The DVC master is the perfect interface to activate LIDs, red LIDs regarding the type of alarm. Again, through the DVC operator, as you might remember from the first video, you can do it as well. This is the backup or the recovery plan I suggested at the beginning. You have multiple options. Our preferred is the DVC master interface. If there is a problem, it must be fixed in front of the cages. What is different is not just the registration that needs a little bit more effort, but obviously also the update and the termination. Because in this case, again, you have to do it, you have to tell to the DVC what's going on, if the cage has been updated, in which field, or even fully terminated. Let's have a look at the following video where we cover different ways for terminating a cage, and the last way is also similar to what you should do for updating a cage. Okay, so now let's talk about how to terminate one or multiple cages. There are multiple ways to do so. The first one we want to show you is through the DVC master interface. By going to the manual task, there is a button called the cage dismiss. By clicking this button, all the registered cages are illuminated in red. These are the ones that can be terminated simply by physically removing from the rack one or multiple cages. These will be detected by the system, by the master interface, clicking the button and confirming these two cages, for instance, now have been fully terminated in the system. Stop data collection, stop monitoring their activity. Exactly the same workflow can be applied through the DVC master interface by clicking the corresponding button called the cage termination. So clicking this button, once again, all the registered cages are illuminated in red, like before, and by removing these cages, physically removing from the rack, these are appearing in the operator interface also with their cage IDs. Clicking the termination save button. The system is asking in this case to provide also a reason for this termination. We will cover this in the advanced training. By clicking OK, these two cages, for instance, now have been terminated. There is a third way to terminate individual cages by directly clicking on the cage and removing, culling all the animals included. There is a specific button called All Animals, then providing an explanation, confirming the cage now is empty and automatically terminated and becomes available for other animals, other cage IDs. So, as said, when the AMS is not integrated, there is a little bit of effort from your side to keep the system fully updated. This is very, very important for, especially for the welfare embedding algorithm, removing or adding animals or changing a cage without telling to the system, obviously is not good for the algorithm, and keeping the content aligned to the reality is mandatory to get the most from the performance of this algorithm. So as said, without the AMS, the DVC operator interface is needed with a little bit more effort, from your side. Now, let's have a look at to other potential already available DVC workflows. I wanted to touch especially the ones regarding breeding cages, that are the ones recently developed. And there is one task, a new task called check pups. Is a task that can be scheduled, if you like, enabled in the DVC, only obviously for breeding cages. Let's have a look. In the DVC system, there is a new module designed to manage breeding cages and their tasks. In this rack, there are some breeding cages, and basically after 3 weeks after the mating date, this module can create some tasks based on a temporal window. After 3 weeks by default, some specific cages are asked to be checked for the pups. Let's have a look to these tasks. Tasks are displayed in the DVC master interface under scheduled tasks, and basically there are currently in this rack 10 cages illuminated by yellow, where potentially pups have been arrived based on a temporal window. You can leave 3 different types of feedbacks. You can find the delivery, you cannot find the delivery, or you can even stop the task to be created. Let's have a look one by one. So example number 1, you found the delivery simply by looking inside the cage. You can immediately confirm the delivery by pressing the lateral button, the capacity button, for 3 seconds. LED turns green, and in the recap you see the counter is saying 1 pups delivery found. Second option could be you remove the cage, you look carefully for the pups. If you find the pups, now before inserting back the cage, you keep pressing the capacity button for 3 seconds. It turns green again, and you can insert back the cage as well. Now, let's have a look to the pups not arrived. So, you remove the cage, you look carefully for the mother and the pups, you don't find the pups. Very simple, you have to insert back the cage, and that's it. LED turns red, the counter is updated as well, and tomorrow for this cage there will be again another task for checking the pups. Last potential use case is about the possibility to stop creating delivery checks pups. In this case, I want to look for the pups, and I discovered that even the mother is not pregnant, and I don't want tomorrow to create the task. I want really to stop creating task for this breeding cage. What I have to do, I have to keep pressing this button for minimum 10 seconds, and then removing the finger. LID will be completely switched off. Now the cage can be inserted back. And as you can see in the counter, there is one cage where the task has been completely stopped. So this is the delivery of PUBs task management with all the different feedbacks. We manage currently the breeding pairs, male and female. All these workflows are currently working for breeding pairs. Thanks to your feedback, we will also look at the breeding trios in the near future. So I emphasize one more time this last advice, this last sentence. Currently, this delivery check PUBs or delivery check is a task available for you running only for breeding cages. We have already received some good feedbacks, and we are designing how to handle breeding trios in multiple situations. If you are interested to explore such current basic functionalities, and obviously, hopefully also provide us with feedbacks, we are more than happy to support you to enable and listen to your feedback. There is an opportunity, as said in the video, this task is scheduled by an algorithm based on temporal window. As said, 21 days, 3 weeks is a default. We can change accordingly to your request, but this will be applied to any breeding cage independently from the strain or other information. At least currently. And then obviously in the long-term roadmap of development, we must include the differences in this time period. But in any case, there is also the opportunity to add a delivery manually. Let's see how to do it. In case you want to manually handle the potential delivery of pups in breeding pairs cages, there is the opportunity to do it manually. Could be for any reason. You are anticipating the outcome of the temporal algorithm for breeding cages, or simply you are handling manually this type of cages. There is an opportunity still through the DVC master interface by going under manual task section, clicking add delivery. Now only the breeding pairs cages are illuminated by yellow, and you have two options for telling the system that now there are pups and the delivery should be added to the correspondent cage. You can keep pressed the button without removing the cage, simply because you were able to see the pups through the plastic of the cage, and the system is confirming that there is already one cage with added delivery. Or you can remove, check carefully, insert it back, and keep pressed for 3 seconds as well. This will add a delivery to this second cage. If you are fine and you don't have any other pups in the other cages, you simply click confirm, and this is automatically creating the corresponding delivery in these two breeding pair cages. So this is the way to add the delivery manually that is not covered by the scheduled task. Hopefully you appreciate that the fact that we are approaching also this important workflow, especially for big facilities of handling breeding cages. So your feedbacks will be really needed to improve the situation and cover as many as needed workflows. By using DVC, especially in the past, and honestly, it's happening less and less in the current time. There was sometimes a misalignment that is really important, obviously, to fix between the reality and the software. There is an advanced functionality called a realignment that can be used in case there is this misalignment situation. Let's have a look and then we discuss immediately about this feature.
So let's see how to realign a cage content that was for any reason not aligned anymore to the reality. Step number one, go to the DVC Operator interface, log in into the application, go to the rack view and select the rack where the empty cage is currently inserted, the one you want to re-register as original one. So you have to click this button, Cage Realignment, and select the cage that is currently empty, that in reality is full of mice, and you want to realign with an existing cage. You can, while clicking on the empty cage, you can then select from a list of missing cages, and sometimes these are very useful, especially if you perform a wrong procedure of bedding change. The cages are declared missing. The new clean cage with the wrong cage top is inserted. You can now realign, or you can even search by looking from a list of registered cages, just in case there was a mismatch between other registered cages currently inserted in the rack. Let's assume that in this case it has been a wrong bedding change procedure. The cage has been declared missing after 12 hours, and this is the cage that should be realigned to this position. You simply click Assign, and then you confirm. Is this the cage with two generic animals? Yes, it is. The cage is back to the rack as registered. Unfortunately, it doesn't recover all the missing data points, especially for the DVC analytics. This can be made by us as a service team. But at least now in the rack, the cage has been automatically registered as the original one.
So as said, this is a nice advanced functionality, realigning reality with software that can be, in this case, only provided by the DVC operator interface. You don't have a recovery or backup plan in case you want to use this feature. Can be run only through the DVC operator. Last but not least, especially for the people who are starting, for the user who are starting running and playing with the DVC, I would like to show you how to refine your DVC bedding algorithm thresholds by leaving feedback on the first bedding changes scheduled by the DVC. This is strategically and very, very important to achieve. We have two strategies when we install. After installing the DVC, you can run your own initial learning phase by providing some dirty cages as example to set your threshold, or you can start from other users' learning phases and refine by leaving feedbacks. In this last, I would say, couple of years, this is the most common approach because it's faster. You can start immediately using the DVC and simply leaving feedbacks. Let's have a look. There are different ways of providing feedbacks to refine this important algorithm. Let's talk now briefly how to leave feedback to refine the DVC bedding algorithm outcomes. As said, the DVC early in the morning produce a list of dirty cases to be changed based on the threshold set on the DVC bedding algorithm. You can leave different feedbacks to refine these thresholds along the way. But let's start step by step. Step number 1 is to enter in the DVC master interface, select the rack, click on scheduled tasks, and then select the bedding change policy you want to follow. In this case, a total bedding change. All the dirty cages are illuminated by yellow, and you can start by removing the first dirty cage. In this case, the cage is dirty enough for your evaluation and filling, and you can proceed by performing the standard bedding change routine you're used to do in your facility, simply by removing and by moving animals from the dirty to the clean cage, moving also the cage label, and as a requirement, inserting back the cage exactly in the same position. So for us, this is an okay feedback, meaning that this cage was dirty enough for you. Second type of feedback, in this case, the cage is removed, but is still too clean. So how to tell us that it's too clean? You can click the capacity button on the lateral side of the board, keep it pressed for 3 seconds, and the LID is switched off. This means for us that the cage, the task in this case, was too clean. Third type of feedback you can leave is about a too dirty cage. In this case, the threshold were not set well, and the task has been created too late. Now the cage is too dirty, and the way to leave a feedback is to perform the bedding change by using the control panel. Clicking on the corresponding button, now also the control panel is following the task, and you can leave the too dirty feedback, moving the animals, closing the cages. The task is tracked and completed, plus the feedback has been received by us. In this case, you can either insert the cage exactly in the same position or even in any other position, because in any case, the task has been tracked by the control panel. Last potential feedback to leave is about, for instance, you don't want to change the cage because there are pups, so you don't want to disturb this cage, and you don't have to reject the task because obviously it's not too clean, but simply you don't want to do because there are pups. You don't want to leave a feedback too dirty, and you don't want to change. So simply leave the cage as it is. And this is for us a feedback that you didn't change for a specific reason. So as said, these feedbacks for us, especially in the first weeks, and this is one of the several duties of Christian as a customer success manager, and also my colleague wise to follow you and understand based on these feedbacks the performances of the DVC bedding algorithm and refine them, discussing with you and then refine them by applying a different threshold. These feedbacks usually are left at the beginning of just after the installation for a certain number of tasks. If you are lucky, good enough to choose for you the most suitable thresholds already created by others, usually it takes few weeks or at least a few months, no more, depending obviously on the number of feedbacks to refine this algorithm and reach your level of performance or of satisfactory performances. Okay, so I would like, time as usual is running fast. There are so many things to discuss about the DVC analytics that we hope we were able to touch and cover, at least the most common, the most, or at least our preferred, hopefully are also your preferred. I would like to briefly conclude and see if there are open questions. So I said the interaction with the DVC in the animal room is performed through various different components, as we discussed. The possibility to have different components generates flexibility to enable you to choose the right and preferred methods or workflow to align your SOPs to the availability of these components. As said, even more, some components overlaps each other, offering a solid backup plan in case they don't work as expected, they are not clear enough, and you feel more confident with some versus others. So it's good to have this kind of overlap. Our shared and discussed preferred workflows try to minimize the interaction required for you while trying to deliver whatever is necessary to complete the task effectively. If you have an animal management system, would be crucial for minimizing interaction to integrate with them. And as Tecniplast, we have already a nice list of partners, of AMS partners we already integrated, or we are planning to integrate. But as Tecniplast, we are fully devoted to technically support this integration by directly talking with your AMS in case this is not part of our current list. Obviously, and this is fundamental to emphasize, I didn't write, I hope to be clear, you have contact your AMS and discuss from a business perspective if this has an impact or not on your maintenance or your licenses. From a DVC perspective, there are no extra costs, and even more, we work to technically integrate the DVC with your AMS, as said, at no cost. For us, it's mandatory you achieve such integration to ease the workflows as we discussed. So, thank you for watching and listening. And now let's open a final Q&A session. I see Christian is typing. I don't know, Christian, if there are questions.
Yes, there was a question about the how we can sanitize the DVC reader. Okay, so normally you can use your, I already answered on the chat, but you can use your standard disinfectant, not spraying directly on the reader, but with some paper, wet, and you can clean. Also a question about what is the scanner reading. And when we are registering the case on the EMS, the scanner, what is reading is the barcode label that is on the AMS case label. Is the way that we took the information from the AMS card label to the DVC. And another good question is when you are doing the bedding change on the cages that are AMS cage, you don't need to scan it again, the information, because the information is safe, is registered in the RFID tag that is that belongs on the filter top of the DVC cage. So the bedding change is transferring this information automatically. You don't need to scan again the AMS information. AMS information is just registered once. That is when you are registering the case for the first time. Then you don't need to interact anymore with DVC about the case information because everything will be managed in the AMS.
Perfect. You should work as a customer success manager, Chris.
I will look for a company. But very interesting the AMS integration that we explained during this webinar, because it's a very easy, efficient way to use the DVC, avoiding double entries. So.
Okay, I hope everything was clear. I said this presentation is recorded. We will share this recording with you in the coming days. Please contact us or our local DVC specialist in case you need any help. We will be more than happy to support you. Thanks, Christian. Thanks, everybody.
You, Giorgio, and thanks to follow this webinar.
Bye-bye.
Bye.